Hello students, today we will be discussing few numericals based on chapter number 1, that is electric charges and fields. Question number 1 is, what is the force between two small charged spheres having charges 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb and 3 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb placed 30 centimeter apart in air? Actually, Q1 is given, Q2 is given and R is given. So that's why in solution we have written Q1 is equals to 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb. In place of Q2 we have written this 3 into 10 to the power minus coulomb, and distance, that is R, is given 30 centimeter. Now this centimeter we can convert it into meter, so it will be 0.3 meter. Now we need to calculate the force between these two charges, so we will be using Coulomb's law. So according to Coulomb's law we know this thing, F is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square, where Q1 is given to us, Q2 is given to us, R is given to us, and 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is a constant. Its value is how much? 9 into 10 to the power 9. So in this particular formula we will substitute all the values. This is the value of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. This is Q1, this is Q2, and this is R. And we can easily solve it. And after solving, finally we'll have this answer. So F will be equals to 6 into 10 to the power minus 3 Newton. So this much force acts between these two charges, and as these two charges are positive in nature, that's why the force between them will be repulsive. Question number 2 is, the electrostatic force on a small sphere of charge 0.4 microcoulomb due to another small sphere of charge minus 0.8 microcoulomb in air is 0.2 Newton. First part of the question is, what is the distance between the two spheres? Actually, in this particular question, Q1 is given to us 0.4 microcoulomb, so micro is 10 to the power minus 6 coulomb. Q2 is given to us, that is minus 0.8 microcoulomb. So we can write minus 0.8 into 10 to the power minus 6 coulomb, and the force between them is given, F is equals to 0.2 Newton. And we are supposed to calculate distance between them, R between them. So again we will use Coulomb's law, which says that F is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square, where we know the value of Q1 Q2 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught F, and we are supposed to calculate what R. So what we can do, we can keep R on one side and we can shift all the other terms on the other side. So finally we'll have this R square is equals to Q1 Q2 upon 4 pi epsilon naught F. Now in place of Q1 we can substitute its value. In place of Q2 again value could be substituted. In place of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, 9 into 10 to the power 9 will come, and in place of F 0.2 will come. So when we will solve all these things, finally we'll have R is equals to 0.12 meter. So this much distance is there between these two charges. Now what is the second part of the equation? Second part of the equation states that, what is the force on the second sphere due to the first? Actually we know this thing, that Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law of motion, and Newton's third law of motion says that equal and opposite force acts on the other sphere by Newton's third law, and hence the force will be same and it will be attractive as both the charges are unlike. Next question is, check that the ratio Ke square upon Gme mp is dimensionless. Look up a table of physical constant and determine the value of this ratio, and what does the ratio signify? Okay, so here this expression is given to us. Now we need to talk about its dimension. So we know this thing, what is G? G is gravitational constant. Its unit is Newton meter square kg inverse 2, and Me and Mp are masses of electron and proton, and the unit is kg. E is electronic charge, its unit will be coulomb, and K is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and its unit we can easily write from Coulomb's law, that is Newton meter square coulomb inverse 2. Now what we will do, in this expression which is given in the equation, in place of each and every term we will substitute their units. So here we have done that only. So when you will simplify it, you will see that each and every unit will get cancelled. So finally we'll have what? M0 L0 T0, which signifies that this given ratio is dimensionless. Now we need to calculate its value also. Now we know this thing, that what is the value of E? It is electronic charge and its value is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. G is gravitational constant, its value is this 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11. Me is mass of electron, its value is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. And mp is mass of proton, its value is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. So now in this expression which is given in the equation, we will substitute value of each term, and when we will simplify it, we will have this. So the value is 2.3 into 10 to the power 39. Now when we clearly observe this expression, we see that what it is nothing but it is the ratio of the electric force to the gravitational force between a proton and an electron, keeping distance between them constant. Actually, if you will see here, Ke square upon R square is electric force. Gme mp upon R square is gravitational force. But when you will take out their ratio, R square and R square will get cancelled, and finally what will be left at last? This will be left at last. So this is the expression which gives the ratio of electric force to the gravitational force between a proton and an electron. Next question is, explain the meaning of the statement electric charge of a body is quantized. We have already discussed quantization of charge, which says that charge on a body is an integral multiple of a basic unit of charge. Charge cannot be transferred in fraction, hence a body possesses total charge only in integral multiples of electric charges. Okay, second question is, why can one ignore quantization of electric charge when dealing with macroscopic or large scale charges? Actually, when we talk about macroscopic or large scale charges, charges are huge. Charges are huge as compared to the magnitude of electric charge. That's why quantization of electric charge is ignored and it is considered as continuous, because the number of electric charges, they are huge, they are very, very small as compared to the magnitude of electric charge. Okay, next question is this. When a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth, charges appears on both. A similar phenomena is observed with many other pairs of bodies. Explain how this observation is consistent with the law of conservation of charge. Actually, we have also discussed conservation of charge, like we are talking about glass rod and silk cloth. So if a glass rod acquires plus 5 microcoulomb of charge, suppose if glass rod after rubbing acquires plus 5 microcoulomb of charge, then the silk cloth will acquire minus 5 microcoulomb of charge. Actually, magnitude will be same, nature will be opposite. So we can say that when a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth, opposite charges appears on both because electrons are transferred from glass to silk. So in this process, charge is not created and nor it is destroyed. It is simply transferred from one body to another. So if a glass rod is losing 5 electrons, then the silk cloth will gain 5 electrons. So hence this observation is consistent with the law of conservation of charge, because the net charge will again become what? 0. Okay. Next question is this. 4-point charges QA, QB, QC and QD are located at the corners of a square ABCD of side 10 cm. What is the force on a charge of 1 microcoulomb placed at the center of the square? So this is the question which is given to us, and it will be very easy if we try to discuss this question with the help of diagram. So the diagram is here. Now you can clearly see that they are talking about a square. ABCD is a square, and at all the 4 corners charges are there. Here plus 2 microcoulomb is there, and here plus 2 microcoulomb charge is there. Here minus 5 microcoulomb charge is there, and here also minus 5 microcoulomb charge is there. And at point O at the center, one more charge is there, that is 1 microcoulomb. So the thing is that, and one more thing they have given to us, that the side of the square is how much? 10 centimeters. So we can easily calculate its diagonal with the help of Pythagoras theorem. So it will be 10 root 2 centimeter, and again we can calculate OA, OC, OD, OB. That will be half of it. So it will be 5 root 2 centimeter. So the thing is that now in this diagram, one more charge is there at the center, that is here. Okay, now one microcoulomb charge is here. So now we have to discuss that what will be the net force on this charge due to all these charges, all these 4 charges. Okay, so the thing is that as it is positive charge and it is also positive charge, there will be force of repulsion. So the direction of force will be in this direction. Okay, and if we talk about the force between this charge plus 2 microcoulomb and the charge which is here, that is 1 microcoulomb, again the force will be repulsive. So the direction of this force will be like this. It means what? These two forces, they are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So the force on this charge due to these two charges will be 0. They will cancel out each other. Okay, now we will talk about this charge. This is negative. The charge which is here is positive. There will be force of attraction and the direction of the force will be towards this charge. Okay, now the thing is that if we talk about this charge, again this is negative and the charge which is here is positive. Again there will be force of attraction and the direction of force will be here. So again we observe that the magnitude of force is same but direction is opposite. So they will cancel out each other. So the net force on this charge due to these two charges, again it will be 0. So what we can say that the force caused by the 4 charges placed at the corner of the square on 1 microcoulomb charge at center O is 0. So the answer will be 0. Now next question is, an electrostatic field line is a continuous curve. That is, a field line cannot have sudden breaks. Why not? Actually, we know this thing that an electrostatic field line is a continuous curve because a charge experiences a continuous force when traced in an electrostatic field. If a charge is there and if it is placed in an electric field, continuously it will experience some force. So the field line cannot have sudden breaks because the charge moves continuously and it does not jump from one point to another. It means it continuously experiences that force. It's not like that at one point it will experience some force but at another point it will not experience some force. It's not like that. So continuously it experiences some force because of that electric field in which it is moving. So what type of field line we will have, or what type of curve we will have a continuous curve. Okay, second part of the question is, explain why two field lines never cross each other. Again we have discussed it in the properties of electric field lines that two electric field lines cannot intersect each other because at the point of intersection, if you will draw the tangent, there will be two tangent and which will gives you two direction of the electric field, and which is not possible at a common point. So that's why two electric field lines can never intersect. Next question is, 2-point charges QA is equals to 3 microcoulomb, QB is equals to minus 3 microcoulomb are located 20 centimeter apart in vacuum. What is the electric field at the midpoint O of the line AB joining the two charges? So here is point A at which this charge is there, and at point B we have this charge. O is the midpoint, and question is that we are supposed to calculate the electric field at point B, at point O, due to these two charges. Okay, so and AB is given to us, that is 20 centimeter. So what will be OA and what will be OB? It will be 10 centimeter. Let us suppose that the net electric field at point OB E. Before that, what we will calculate, that we will calculate electric field at this point because of this charge. And let us suppose that the electric field is even. And we know the formula of electric field intensity, it is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon R square. So if we are calculating E1 at point O, so what it will be, as it is due to this charge, it will be 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 upon 4 pi epsilon naught AO square. So we know this thing, what is AO square? It is 10 centimeter. When you will convert into meter, it will be 10 to the power minus 2. And this we have written. And again we know the value of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and it is how much? 9 into 10 to the power 9. Okay, now let us suppose that at point O, electric field due to this charge, the charge which is at B, is E2. So now we can easily calculate the value of E2. Again, we will put its formula. Its formula is Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught upon R square. So this is how we have written the same thing. Okay, now let's talk about the direction. At point O, what will be the direction of the electric field due to this charge, and what will be the direction due to this charge? Okay. The direction of electric field due to positive charge, we know this thing, it is always outward. So the direction will be like this. And the direction due to negative charge is inward. It means it will be towards the field, towards the charge, sorry. So the direction due to minus 3 microcoulomb will also be inward. It means what? The direction of both these fields is along OB. So the direction of the net electric field will also be along OB. And since they both are in same direction, this is E1, this is E2, and they both are in same direction. So what will be the net electric field at point O? It will be E is equals to E1 plus E2. So finally, what we can write, E is equals to E1 plus E2. We have written the value of E1, we have written the value of E2, and both are having same magnitude. So that's why 2 is included over here. So when you will solve it, you will have this value 5.4 into 10 to the power 6 Newton per coulomb, and the direction is along OB, which we have already discussed. So this is the first part of the equation. Now let us talk about the second part of the equation. The second part of the equation is, if a negative test charge of magnitude 1.5 into 10 to the power minus 9 coulomb is placed at this point, what is the force experienced by the test charge? Then what will be the force experienced by this test charge? And it is very easy. We know this thing. What is F? F is equals to Q into E. Q is given in the equation. That is this 1.5 into 10 to the power minus 9 coulomb. And E we have already calculated in first part. So by using this formula, F is equals to Q into E, we can easily calculate the force experienced by the negative charge. So finally, we have written, in place of Q, we have written 1.5 into 10 to the power minus 9, and in place of E, we have written this. So when you will calculate it, the force experienced by this negative charge will be 8.1 into 10 to the power minus 3 Newton, and it will be along OA. Because it is the negative test charge, and it will be repelled by the charge placed at point B, but it will be attracted towards point A. Hence the force experienced by the test charge is along OA. As the charge which is placed here is negative, since this is negative and this is positive, there will be force of attraction. So the direction will be like this. And if we talk about the force between this charge and this charge, as this is negative, this is also negative, so there will be force of repulsion. And if there will be force of repulsion, what will be the direction? The direction will be like this. It means the force experienced by this negative charge will be along OA. So this is how we have given the direction of the force experienced by this charge, and it will be along OA. And I hope this is clear. Okay, now let's discuss the next question. The next question is this. A system has two charges, this and this, placed at points 0, 0, 15 centimeter and 0, 0 plus 15 centimeter. This is minus is not written. 0, 0 plus 15 centimeter respectively. What are the total charge and the electric dipole moment of the system? So they are talking about two charges, and they have also given us the position. So before we discuss it, let's have its diagram. So the direction, the diagram will be like this. So one charge is here and one charge is here. The position is given. This is 0, 0, 15. So along z-axis, along positive z-axis, and this is what 0, 0, minus 15 along negative z-axis. And at point B, we have a negative charge minus 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb. At point A, there is a positive charge which is 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb. So here negative charge and here positive charge, and if you will see it, the charges are equal in magnitude. So if I'll ask you that what will be the total charge of the system, so one is positive, other one is negative, and both are equal in magnitude, so the total charge will be 0. So the net charge or the total charge of the system will be 0. Now we are supposed to calculate the dipole moment. We know this thing, what is dipole moment? It is the product of charge and the distance between them. And what will be the distance between them? If this is 15, this is also 15, so 15 plus 15 will gives us what? 30 centimeter. So we can say that the distance between them is how much? 30 centimeter, and when you will convert into meter, it will be 0.3 meter. So what will be the dipole moment? So the dipole moment will be the product of either of the charge and the distance between them. So that's why we have written over here 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 7 into 0.3. So this will